Hola Bea, ¿cómo estás? I hope you are doing well. So before everything else, I'd like to thank you and your team from the Spanish Embassy for this opportunity to experience a language and cultural immersion in Spain through the Language Assistant Program. And as promised, I have prepared this documentation of my trip to Spain. Destination, Sagrado Corazon School in Cabezon de la Sal, Cantabria, as English Language Assistant for the school year 2025-2026. Before the trip, I got everything ready. I made an inventory of the things that I have to bring with me, like clothes, toiletries, other essentials, and travel documents like my passport, plane ticket, euros, and my carta de nombramiento. For my check-in luggages, to ensure that I won't be exceeding the 25 kilos allowance, I weighed my luggages at home using a very handy weighing tool which I borrowed from a colleague. I also weighed my 2 major hand carry bags, and it did not exceed the 8 kilos weight allotment for hand carry bags. But then, aside from these hand carry bags, I had a sling bag for my important documents, cell phone, and money, plus an extra eco bag with some other things. In short, I had 4 hand carries. I thought it was okay, but then the check-in lady at the counter told me that only 2 hand carry bags are allowed. So I had to squeeze in the content of my sling bag and eco bag into the hand carry bags. The lady weighed them again, and good thing it did not exceed 8 kilos. But the hassle of having to cramp and adjust luggages was a bit stressing. Something to be remembered for next time. Additionally, the check-in lady told me to hurry up because it was already almost boarding time. Oh, and aside from the weighing my luggages beforehand, I filled out the e-travel declaration form in the egov.ph app. Better to fill this out at least 72 hours before going to the airport to avoid the hassle of being reminded by airport officials, and do it while lining up for check-in or along the immigration counters. Once everything was ready, I head off to the airport around 11 o'clock in the evening. I stayed and took a nap at the airport until the check-in counters opened the next morning. Then September 21, Sunday at 7:45 in the morning, the Emirates plane took off. The trip was very long and exhausting, from Manila to Dubai, then from Dubai to Madrid. My coordinator, Maria of Sagrado Corazon School, advised me to stay first in a hotel in Madrid before traveling to Cabezon de la Sal, which will take me another 5-hour trip via train. So the purpose was so I could rest first after the long plane trip. Originally, I was actually planning to stay and sleep at the Madrid airport because since I am traveling alone, I didn't want to stay in a hotel. Fortunately, back in the Philippines, I have met Fernando and his wife Marian, who became good friends of mine. They happened to live in Madrid and agreed to accommodate me for 2 nights and a day. I was really grateful for their kindness and generosity. That 1-day rest made me adjust to the Spain time, which is 6 hours behind the Philippine time, and of course, get rid of the jet lag. The following day, September 22, Monday, I did a walking tour of Madrid following the guide map that Fernando prepared for me. The tour started from Moncloa, where Fernando dropped me off before going to his work. The tour map was very well planned. From Moncloa, I walked towards Plaza de España, then to the Palacio Real de Madrid, Catedral de Santa Maria, La Real de La Almudena, Plaza Mayor, Plaza de Cibeles, Puerta de Alcala, and finally to the house of the Idente Missionary Sisters at Calle Hermosilia, where I was invited to have lunch. During my stop at the Catedral de Santa Maria, there was a small chapel dedicated to Saint Pedro Poveda. It was an unexpected and joyful discovery. The other places that I have passed by along the way of my walking tour were the building of Instituto Cervantes, which is in front of Banco de España, then the Museo de Jamón, and the building of Hermes Perfume of Paris. Hermes is also the name of Fernando's dog, so that made the building extra special. After the walking tour, I walked back to Moncloa, tracing the route from the guide map. Then in Moncloa, I went to the building of El Corte Inglés to buy a train ticket to Torre la Vega with a destination to go to Cabezon de la Sal. The next day, September 23, Tuesday, Fernando dropped me off at the train station in Chamartin before going to his work. Then from Chamartin, I traveled to Torre la Vega. At the train station, my coordinator, Maria, picked me up and drove me to Cabezon de la Sal. We arrived there at around past 6 o'clock in the evening, but wow, the sun was still up high in the sky, though it also rained a bit. The first thing that my coordinator and the secretary of Sagrado Corazon did was to get me settled in. Maria, my coordinator, called the lady of the apartment to request for the room that I will be staying in Cabezon de la Sal. Fortunately, the apartment happened to be located just beside the school where I was assigned to teach. This was a huge advantage because I don't need to take public transportation via commute, which saves money, time, and effort. During the wait, Marie accompanied me to a nearby phone shop. I bought a local SIM card, so now I have my own local mobile number, which I will be using during my stay in Spain. At 8 o'clock in the evening, Maria and I met the lady of the apartment. We discussed the terms and conditions of the rent. Then I moved in and organized my things. The following day, September 24, Wednesday, the lady of the apartment dropped by and we signed the contract for the rent. Afterwards, I also had the apartment keys duplicated so I could have my own keys to the apartment. After having the key duplicated, I went to Sagrado Corazon School to meet with Ricardo, the school secretary, for further instructions on the required documents and processes to open a bank account. Then later in the evening, I took a walk around Cabezon de la Sal to get familiar with the important places in the town, like the church, the supermarket, the bakery, the park, among others. September 26, Thursday, Ricardo, the school secretary, accompanied me to open a bank account at Banco Santander. Everything was okay. My passport was accepted in place of the TIE, but then I did not have yet a copy of the apartment rental contract. So I was given a temporary bank account number and it will be finalized when I submit the copy of the apartment contract. Oh, and the apartment rental contract needs to be registered at the Municipal Hall of Cabezon de la Sal. So this is a pending process for next week. Then finally, September 27, Saturday, I left the apartment at 6:30 in the morning to catch the train for Santander that will leave at 7:19 a.m. This train trip was actually a practice trip for next week, October 1, the day of the orientation for language assistants assigned in Cantabria. By the way, the sun here rises at past 8 o'clock in the morning, So it means I will have to leave before sunrise. From this practice trip, I have experienced buying a train ticket from the vending machine and have become familiar with the train trip itself. So for next week, I will take the train that leaves at 7:19 a.m. and will arrive in Santander at 8:29 a.m. Then from Santander train station, just a few minutes walk to the auditorium of Cantabria University. So I think I will make it in time for the orientation. So this is the other purpose of the trip. The practice trip was actually to learn how to go to the auditorium of Cantabria University, which is the venue for the orientation. I just wanted to calculate the travel time so I wouldn't be late. After having a brief tour of Santander, I took the 11:40 a.m. train back to Cabezon de la Sal so that I would be able to make it in time to experience the famous weekend mercadillo or weekend town bazaar. After strolling around the stalls of clothes, jewelries, fruits, and vegetables, well, I ended up buying 2 Spanish books. Okay, so this culminates the documentation for now. Until next time, hasta luego.